Hey there friends, it's me Peter, getting ready to present to you yet another one of my famous collection videos. Now earlier this year I showed off my DVD collection, which actually has grown quite a bit since the last time I showed it to you, but we're not talking about that today. We're also not talking about my Animorphs book collection, which has also grown quite tremendously since the last update I showed you, but again, we're not talking about that today. No, my friends, today we are talking about my VHS tape collection. That's right, I still collect VHS tapes. Why? Well, I still have a VHS player, it still works perfectly, and why the heck not? Also, buying VHS tapes is a way for me to decide if I actually want the movie on DVD or Blu-ray or not. Many times you can buy these VHS tapes at resale shops or at used book sales for just 99 cents. And if I want to see if I like a movie or not, why not just spend 99 cents on it to see if you enjoy it? It's a lot cheaper than buying the Blu-ray, which is a lot more expensive, deciding you don't like it, than realizing you wasted all this money on something you don't like. Right now, I have 31 VHS tapes in my collection, and I am going to go through all 31 of them right here and right now. And because my collection isn't huge, I'll try to tell a little story with each one of them, whether I've seen the movie or not, whether I enjoyed it, whether I'm planning on upgrading it, things like that. And unlike my DVD collection, which was just in a sort of random order, this time around my VHS tape collection will actually be in alphabetical order, so it's much better organized that way. So without further ado, let's get started with the 10 Best All-American Vacations. This was a VHS tape. I found this at Goodwill. It's from U.S. News and World Reports, and yeah, it just looked interesting to me. I haven't seen it yet, but, you know, it was cheap. I only got it for, how much was it? Price is actually still on here. Oh, it was 10 for $1. I think they were trying to get rid of these. So, yeah, I just picked this up. It was dirt cheap, and I figured, heck, why not? I'll take a look at it. Up next is a classic Don Bluth movie that many of you might have seen when you were a child, All Dogs Go to Heaven. No, I actually surprisingly have not seen this movie, believe it or not. I picked this up, again, at a resale shop, and it's a movie I really, really want to see. I've heard nothing but great reviews from this. I've heard Burt Reynolds is fantastic in it. It's just a movie that I really, really want to see. Continuing on with the Don Bluth movies is An American Tail. Now, unlike All Dogs Go to Heaven, I actually have seen this movie before. I saw it in 6th grade when we were studying our immigration unit. Haven't upgraded this because it has been a while since I've seen it, and I can't remember if I really, really like it all that much or not. I seemed to enjoy it when I was in 6th grade, though, and it is a Don Bluth movie, and you can't really go wrong with Don Bluth movies. Next up is a movie on my bucket list, An American Werewolf in London, starring David Naughton, who is actually a one-hit wonder when it comes to music. He had the song Makin' It. I haven't seen this movie yet. It is on my bucket list. Don't know when I plan on seeing it, but I'll take a look at it. I've heard mixed reviews on it, but we'll see it someday. Next is a movie I actually owned as a child, which is Animal Bloopers, a video from Jack Hanna. Now this video, I didn't own this particular copy, but I had this as a child. My copy I had got destroyed in a flood, and I was at Goodwill, and lo and behold, they happened to be selling this, and I said, I don't care what happens, I'm buying this on the spot. And I did, along with another movie you'll see in a little bit. Next up is Apollo 13, another movie that, interestingly, I also saw in 6th grade. Saw this during our space unit when we were learning about the race to space back in the 60s. Again, I really enjoyed this movie. Don't know if I want it on Blu-ray or DVD or not, but I figured I'd pick up the VHS tape, because I do remember enjoying it very much. One of the few Disney movies I have on VHS is Bedknobs and Broomsticks. I actually picked this up because I rented it from Family Video, but their DVD is scratched so badly to the point where the movie can't continue, so I figured I'd buy the VHS copy. Next up is a movie you might remember I reviewed during Christmas season, of course being A Charlie Brown Christmas. One of my all-time favorite Christmas TV specials. I absolutely love it. I've held on to this VHS tape for years. This is actually my original copy. I've had this since the early 90s, and I'm not getting rid of it anytime soon. Next up, we got 3 documentaries about Chicago, produced by WTTW, which is the PBS affiliate in Chicago. First up, we got Chicago by Boat, which is a river tour on the Chicago River. As you can see, this one isn't even open yet, so as you can obviously tell, I haven't seen it yet. Next up is Chicago's Loop, a walking tour. This one's pretty decent, got a little boring at points, but I still enjoyed watching it. And one where I'm missing the cover, but it's Chicago's North Shore. Now, I really enjoy this because it talks about my hometown of Wilmette, talks about the entire North Shore going up to the Illinois-Wisconsin border. Really like it. I hope to replace this on DVD someday, yeah. Next up is Flashdance, a movie that I actually have seen. I saw this on Netflix when it was still on there, and as corny as it was, it actually wasn't that awful. I actually enjoyed watching it. It was a good shut-your-brain-off type movie, yeah. Now, earlier I talked about picking up another movie the same time I picked up the Animal Bloopers VHS tape. Well, that movie is Homeward Bound, the classic Disney movie. Now, I have no interest on buying this on DVD because it's the full-screen version, and I figure, why waste the money for the DVD when it's the same thing on VHS? So, I'm going to stick with the VHS. This was one of my favorite movies as a child. Absolutely loved it. Another VHS tape in my collection that I saw as a child is Inside the White House. It's a National Geographic tour showing the inside of the president's house, otherwise known as the White House. I also had this on VHS when I was a child, but again, it also got destroyed in the flood. But I found this at Goodwill. I'm like, I need to have this. And I picked it up. Next up is another movie on my bucket list, The Jerk, starring Steve Martin. Again, I don't know when I'm going to watch this movie. Haven't seen it yet, but I'll get to it eventually. Next up is a movie a lot of my friends are going to judge me for never having seen, but yeah, it's Labyrinth. Now, friends, I've never seen Labyrinth. I don't know why I haven't seen Labyrinth. I actually hadn't even heard of it until a couple years ago. And since David Bowie's passing earlier this year, my interest in seeing this movie has actually gone up. So, one of these days I'll pop it in the player and watch it. Next up is another bucket list movie, A League of Their Own. I think I picked this up from the library when they were having their used book sale. This is actually one of the next movies I plan on watching for my bucket list, so I will be seeing this sooner rather than later. Here's another random movie I picked up one time, The Oscars' Greatest Moments. Again, it just sounded like something interesting that I wanted to pick up and watch, so I figured, why not? So I picked it up. Still haven't watched it yet. I'll get to it eventually, though. Two more Disney movies I have are The Rescuers and The Rescuers Down Under. These two are actually, in my opinion, very underrated Disney movies. I know a lot of people don't like The Rescuers. Rescuers Down Under fared a little bit better. I actually don't mind these movies. I actually like them a lot. Even this one, for as much hate as it gets, I really don't get it. I don't think it's that bad. Next up, we got Risky Business, a movie I have seen, a movie that was partially filmed in Wilmette, my hometown. And if you guys are lucky, maybe the next time I come home, I'll give you a little tour of some of the locations where this was filmed at. Another bucket list movie is Rocky. Yeah, I know, get all your harsh judgments out of the way. I've never seen Rocky. I'll see it eventually. I don't know when, but I will see it. I promise you that. Here's another movie that you're all going to judge me for never having seen, The Sandlot. Yeah, I know, I've never seen The Sandlot, and I actually didn't even hear of this movie until I was in high school. The only scene from this movie I've actually seen is where the lifeguard gives mouth-to-mouth to the kid when he pretends to drown, and then he slips his tongue inside of her mouth. I've always wanted to do that. Here's another bucket list movie I will be seeing sooner rather than later, Seven. This, along with A League of Their Own, was voted by you guys as two of the next movies that I should see on my bucket list. So I will be seeing these very, very soon. When, I can't tell you a time frame because I'm pretty busy. Yet another bucket list movie is Short Circuit. This one I'm not entirely looking forward to because I've heard it's kind of dumb, but you know, it looks like kind of innocent fun, so why not? I'll see it eventually. And yet another movie on my bucket list is The Sixth Sense. Yeah, I know. Pick up your jaws off the ground. Yes, I have not seen The Sixth Sense. This actually, look at this. It's completely unopened. It's in mint condition. Not that it's worth very much, because nobody buys VHS tapes except for me anymore, but, you know, one of these days I'll take the package open and watch it, even though I do know what happens at the end of the movie. And here we are, my friends, the final home stretch of my VHS tapes, starting with the Star Wars Original Trilogy, completely unedited special edition version. Here we got Star Wars, The Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, 3 classic movies. None of them have the alterations that George Lucas made to them. Quality's not that great, but I don't care because these are unaltered. Next up, we got a John Hughes movie that I've only seen parts of, Uncle Buck. I've actually seen the very beginning of this, parts of the middle, and the ending, but I've actually never seen the movie in its entirety. And, you know, it was a cheap VHS tape I picked up at a resale shop, so why not? I'll take a look at it, and maybe I'll upgrade it to Blu-ray someday, yeah? Okay, the final bucket list movie I have on VHS is When Harry Met Sally. Don't know when I'm going to see this. I am familiar with it. This was actually filmed in Chicago, believe it or not, actually at Loyola University downtown. So, I'll have that Chicago connection when I finally watch it. Finally, I've got 2 local movies, if you will, that I have on VHS. The first is Wildlife on the Lakefront. It's a documentary about Lincoln Park Zoo. Part of me thinks this might have been a press featurette that was created for, like, the media or something. I found this on Amazon, and I had to have it, and it's really interesting. This was made in, what was the copyright date on this? Oh, I can't find it, but it would had to have been in the late 80s or early 90s, because the zoo really does not look like this anymore. And finally, from the personal files, is this. This is a slideshow that was created by the Parents Association when I was in 8th grade for my 8th grade graduation. It's kind of funny looking back on this now. It's only like 15 minutes. It's not that long. But I enjoy it. It brings back memories. I remember when I was younger and I watched this, I used to get offended that I wasn't in that many photos, but now that I'm older, I moved on from it. And yeah, it's not that big of a deal. There you have it, my friends. My glorious 31 VHS tape collection. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more videos from me, simply click that subscribe button down below. Until next time, this is Peter, saying see you later.